Hi there, my name's Aaron and I'm the founder of It's Okay. I suffer from anxiety, and quite recently, for the last 2 years, I've been recovering from a period of my life where depression consumed it and I decided to take my own life, which thankfully I've came back from the depths to be here now with my gorgeous brand. So why am I on here telling you my story? Now, I'm here telling you my story first and foremost to spread awareness of suicide. This month I've dedicated the monthly spotlight to suicide. On the 10th of September it's World Suicide Prevention Day, and I want to show you that there's ways of coming back from the darkness and point you in the right direction. I want to stop people going down the route I went down. And if I can do that by hook or crook, I will do it. I don't want suicide to be such a huge statistic as it is now. I think it's 125 people each week or each month take their own lives, and it needs to stop. Suicide is not an option. Suicide isn't a last resort. We need to communicate better, we need to talk, and we need to open up, and we all need to ultimately destroy the stigma that surrounds suicide and mental health. My story and how I've got to this point where I'm telling you it, and how I've managed to come back from the depths of despair. So people say, don't they, that you hit the floor with depression and mental health. You hit the floor and sometimes you bounce, sometimes you don't. With me, I feel when I went through my period of depression, I went through probably 10 concrete hard floors before I came to a stop. So my troubles started in 2018. I was in a relationship at the time and we lost a baby. It was very, very early on, but nevertheless it was a massive hit, and for me, the start of a chain of events that would end up with me sitting on a beach. So fast forward from that event to 2019 February, and I found myself and coming back to Norfolk. I was happily married in Oxford. Well, I say happily, not so happy, but divorce happened, and now divorce for me was something that I never expected. The marriage broke down and I found myself with no house and having to come back to Norfolk. Now, Norfolk for me is a place where a lot of childhood memories are there. I had a turbulent childhood. It wasn't very good. This is where my anxiety stems from, but coming back to Norfolk was a tough thing for me to do. I came back to Norfolk with no house, a few bin bags of my clothing, and my dog, Willow, that most of you may have seen on my socials already, who's a godsend. And it was tough. It was tough coming back with no house, a few belongings, and depression really kicked in. Depression really kicked in, and I feel depression with meeting a new relationship where I shouldn't have got into a relationship. I should have had time on my own to recover, mourn the relationship, and I did. Come October that year, I had a relative that had to go into hospital for an operation, someone that was really close to me, my dear aunt, and she's just been the rock. She's been the one that helped me when I came back, and the person that has always been there for me through this tough time. And there was a moment in the hospital where I thought I'd lost her, and that clicked it. That was full-on depression at that point onwards, and I spiraled into an anxiety, depression type situation where it would feel like I had the worst hangover known to man. I didn't want to get off the sofa. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was scratchy. I was irritated. I was angry. I was not me at all. And I I reached out to a few people, and now the one thing that stuck with me, this is where the It's Okay brand comes from, is when you would talk to somebody, somebody would always go and they would say, cheer up, snap out of it. You know, you've got this, you've got that, you've got a happy life, you've got this, and it's okay, well and good people trying to help you in that way, but it's counteractive at the point that I felt that I couldn't talk about what I was going through. I couldn't talk about how low I felt. I couldn't talk about the weeks where I would sit on the sofa or lay on the sofa overnight with the dog and not move. And, you know, for me, people would rather say, oh, just snap out of it, cheer up, smile, and that isn't the case. That isn't what's needed. It makes me sad that how alone I felt with people and their comments, and I really did try and confide, but by the end of it, people can say these things enough to you and you start to feel like you've got to do this on your own and you can't turn to anybody. And I kept a lot of stuff so deep within my mind that it just ate away, like a virus. It just ate away at my thoughts. Like, I felt more alone than I had ever felt, because I tried to confide in my partner, and it's hard to talk to somebody about mental health. It's hard to confide in somebody that you love, who just doesn't get it. And there's no fault of theirs. They just didn't get it. They didn't understand what was going on. We had a big argument, and I went to work at my aunt's for a week. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I felt the most alone I've ever felt in all my life. I'm an independent guy. I've done a lot over my years, even as a child, on my own, because of my upbringing and how I've been brought up. You know, I'm an independent guy, so you'd think that being alone, having to do stuff would be okay. I'd be strong enough to do it. But depression, oh boy, that's a whole world of darkness. And I thought I could do it on my own, and I didn't. So Wednesday that week, I remember vividly that I went to my aunt's, and I worked, and all day I had this gnawing voice in my head that told me that I wasn't good enough for anybody in my life. And I asked myself a question: if I was to die, who would be at my funeral? Who would care? I have a son, I have an amazing aunt and uncle, and I have friends, but talking to people, so talking about my problems, I was being told to cheer up by friends or snap out of it. My aunt was going through her heart attack, and I didn't feel like I put my troubles onto her, and I just felt I had no one. And this funeral thought just kept going round and round and round and round my head, and I just had this idea that the only people that would be there was my son and my aunt, that I loved to bits. But I just thought the way I was as a person was bringing them down as well. So I made a decision that afternoon, 2:30, I made a decision to do it. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I was going to end my life. So that afternoon I went to the beach. Now, the beach has always been a place, even as a kid growing up by the seaside, beach has been a place where it calms me. It is a place where I go to when I am sad or low, and usually going to the beach I come away feeling better. I put a plaster over it. Now, when I say I decided to end my life, I don't know if people who have gone through it feel the same, but you make a decision and you still have this little voice going, is this right, is this right, is this right? So I drove to the beach, and that's from Norwich to Haysborough, Some of you may know Norfolk. Haysborough's a beautiful beach. It's got a nice, beautiful lighthouse on there. It was drizzly, it was rainy, and I cried all the way in the car to Haysborough. And my brain was at a fight. My brain was fighting the thoughts, the idea that I wouldn't be here anymore. It was fighting, and I think I was sad that reasons I was sad. I was sad because of the decision I'd made, but then I was also sad that I'd finally come to a closed decision. I was sad in a way that I was kind of happy that it was happening, and that's a tough one. That is a tough one, to be happy that you've made a decision. I think I'd gone through so much trauma in my brain over the period of time that I was going through my depression that I think I was just glad for the peace of mind that I'd made a decision to do it. So as I drove over, I stopped. I got my favourite chocolate bar. I got a Lucozade. I just wanted something. I just wanted something for me. I just wanted something there and then that I enjoy. And I sat on this beach. It was chucking it down with rain, and I sat on the beach for about 2 hours. Now, during this time, I had my chocolate bar. I had my Lucozade, and I sat on this beach and I was listening to music, and I was at loggerheads. Although I made a decision, I was still fighting the urge to not do it. But that's the only way I could see out. And a song played. Now, some of you might know this song by Linkin Park. And Chester Bennington, he went through suicide, troubles and depression and anxiety. Now, there's a song that Linkin Park did called Last Light, or One More Light, sorry. And the song resonated with me. I don't know what it was, but at that moment, that song hit me deep. And when I talk deep, it was through the heart. And it was about one more light going out. And it pushed me over the edge. And I had to do it. I had to do it. So the idea was to swim out to sea. There would be no body. There would be no coming back. I wouldn't have to put anyone through the trauma of finding my body. It would just be gone. So, and this is tough. So I sat on that beach in the rain and I undressed. I walked towards the sea, and I just remember the lighthouse kicking round, just a light on the sea, just kick, 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 and I was going to swim. I was going to swim until I couldn't swim anymore. That was the idea. If I swam to the Netherlands, I would swim back again until the point where I couldn't swim anymore, and I'd just go under into the dark depths. And I took 1 foot into the water in my boxer shorts. I was cold, but I wasn't, it was freezing February, it was raining, I was cold, but not, I just remember just being not as cold as I should have been. And at the point I put my foot in the water, my phone went off. Now, most of you who know me know my phone's never on loud. Never, ever, and nobody can get through to me. Nobody gets through to me. I don't know what it was, but I put another foot in the water and my phone was going off, and I could just hear it ringing. And I don't know what came over me, but I turned around and I walked back. I walked back to that phone, and it was my son ringing. And I looked at this phone ringing, and Caleb was just on this screen. And I answered it, and he said, "All right, Dad, you all right?" And everything came crashing around me. Everything that I just worked myself up to do came crashing around me. I've never felt so stupid and wrong in all my life. It was one of the worst decisions I have ever made. And my son My son saved me. Sorry, I've completely lost my words. That was a massive point in my life that I've dragged myself back from. From there, I drove home. I had probably a week of just being awake. I couldn't sleep, and I had to do something about my thoughts, because my thoughts, I don't know if you've been through something before and feel like you've screwed up, but screwed up in a huge way. Now, I screwed up. I screwed up for every single person that cares and loves me. I screwed up. Absolutely did not put anybody else's feelings into account of what I was about to do. So how did I get back from that point? Loving me is how I got back from that point. I got a good therapist, a really good therapist. I opened up to the loved ones. Now, what I should have done that day I went to the beach is spoke to my aunt or uncle and told them what I was doing. I learnt to love myself, had time on my own, and my puppy. I've mentioned Willow a few times now. That's another I say person because she's like a person, another person in my life I didn't think about at the time. Now, what would she have done without an owner? And she loves me to bits, and you know, I equally love her. I love my son, I love my aunt, I love everybody that's been there for me. The dog gave me amazing routine. She gave me life. She got me out. She got me out in the mornings when I didn't want to get up. She got me out in the world. I took up graphic design. I put my ideas and, you know, my horrible negative energy into graphic design and learn graphics. I put my energy into my work. I put my energy into the things I enjoy. And by hook or crook, I scraped it back. But it was because I used this, and I used this in a good way. I communicated. I told people how I felt. I'm very open now. I'm still recovering. I'm still get pain. I mean, even last week I was just in a world of pain. It's like waves. Emotions are like waves. Brainwaves. There you go. You can have that one. But yeah, brainwaves, they come in waves. They hit, you know, I see my depression as a massive wave, and it's gone back, and it's come back slightly lower, and it's come like this. So I've got this little wave now, comes now and again. Anxiety hits me deep. I'm still got a bit of social anxiety, and I managed to claw something back. Now, as I said, it's okay. One of the stories that I told myself, that I was okay, that it's okay to be down, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be feeling like rubbish, it's okay that I've been through this horrible ordeal and tragic events, that and it's okay that I've been a fighter. I've fought, and I'm winning at the moment. I'm winning. I'm getting to a place. Now, that's the reason why these are on the t-shirt, that it's okay. And it's okay, as I said, has been put together from this horrible moment in my life. Now, do I suffer from, as I said, I suffer from anxiety. So do I suffer from depression still? I would say so. But it's more the aftermath of what I've been through is what I suffer. Some nights I have these horrendous dreams where I'm on the beach, and I go through with it, and I'm swimming, and you know, I get pulled underwater, and I don't come back up again. Those dreams are less now, but I think they'll always be here in my life. But you have, and this is for anybody that's struggling out there, just like me, you have an inner strength. Now, The ordeal I went through was this playing tricks, this telling me I wasn't good enough, this telling me I was alone, this telling me that no one would be at my funeral if I was to die, and this telling me, you know, that nobody loved me, nobody cared for me, when as soon as I used this and I start talking more, people were there in a shot. Now, don't get me wrong, some people won't be there for you, some people will not understand, some people reaction will be not what you expect or not what you need, but there are people like myself there that will give you the encouragement you need, will give you the ear that you need, will give you the shoulder that you need. Where do I go from now? All my energy from those horrible 2 years go into this. It's okay. Now, I want to build a community. I want to help people. Ultimately, I want to help charities. And even more than that, I want to stop people going down the route I did. You are loved, you are cared for, you have a whole amazing future in front of you, and it's all in your grasp. All I would say is, if you are struggling right now, please talk to somebody. Samaritans, Calm, we are linked up with some amazing ambassadors who have their own charities and things going on. So link up with us, talk to us, and we will push you in the right direction. I say push, we will grab your arm, put your hand on your shoulder, and we will guide you to the right direction. Whatever you need, just talk. But please, 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 and this is a real please from me, please do not feel that you need to take your life to get over what's going on in your mind, because you don't. There is a way back from all of this, and you can do it. You really can do it. But yeah, that's my story in a nutshell, and why I'm here and why I've got this brand. So yeah, if you have any questions or want to, you know, talk about how I recovered, then please do talk. Anyway, I love you loads, and that's me out.